I have quite the treat for you today on Heal the Divide. I have with me my colleague and dear friend, Ray DeForest. Ray DeForest is an extraordinary luminary in the world of entertainment. He's celebrated not only for his captivating performances, but for his profound impact on the entertainment industry. His iconic alter ego, Doris Dear, America's Perfect Housewife, has earned him a dazzling array of accolades, from the coveted Mac Award to the prestigious Telly Award, Communicator Award, W3 Award, and Broadway World Awards. With an unwavering dedication to fostering inclusivity, creativity, and social change, Ray DeForest stands as a beacon of inspiration within the entertainment industry and beyond. And I can tell you, he always serves as an inspiration to me. So, as promised, I have my dear friend and colleague and fabulous Ray DeForest here. Ray, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, sitting here in beautiful New York City on a very cold winter day.
I'm happy that you're here with us. I
Thanks.
admire you and love you so dearly because of all of the work that you've done, not just on behalf of our community with regard to SAG-AFTRA LGBTQ, but in every aspect of your life. And I'd like to talk to you about how we might go about to, heal some of the divide that we have in this country, especially now.
Mm.
Let me know your thoughts, my friend.
Well, it's interesting. So, my husband Jim and I are watching a streaming show right now called Woman in the Wall, and it's based on true facts in Ireland about the Irish laundries where families would send their daughters if they got pregnant or if they broke a leg and they didn't want to take care of them. And they would send these young girls. Sinead O'Connor was sent to one when she was 14 and spent, I think, a year and a half in one, where the abuse was these girls would have babies and they'd be sent to work. They wouldn't sew them up. They would be bleeding. They weren't allowed to talk. It was a torture chamber run by the Catholic Church. And we're watching it, and I experienced abuse from priests when I was a child, and actually,
I'm sorry
I
about that.
test. Oh, thanks. I mean, I testified in court on behalf of somebody who was suing the Catholic Church because the principal who attacked me sexually when I was in high school was moved school to school by the Catholic Church. He knew what he was doing, and he raped and sexually abused over close to 100 young men. So I testified in court to help someone else whose life was destroyed by that. He's an adult, a little younger than me. I'm 65. I mean, I got through all that because I had a really strong family and a strong nature. I almost broke the guy's ribs when he tried to do what he tried to do.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it was very triggering.
Yeah.
It really, I'm on episode 6. There's 7 episodes. In episode 6, one these amazing, I love Irish actors. I am Irish. I'm 97% Irish, more Irish than most people. And faith and Bicora, I'd be an Irishman. And both my grandparents emigrated from Ireland. My mother lived in Ireland a good majority of her young life. But these Irish actors are so intense and so amazing. These women, especially, and this woman did this speech about what happens to her. And I just broke down because it was so triggering.
Mhm.
And it really made me think about how do you heal through life when you experience things like abuse or hatred or prejudice and
Right.
being
Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it
So how
really
dare
brings
you?
back, well, I mean, it really brings back my entire life, which it's interesting when I talk to people who knew me in my 20s or my 30s and my 40s, like they saw a totally different person than I ever thought I was. It's
Sure.
so weird to me. I just thought I was a scared little shy kid. Meanwhile, I've been leading through our community and fighting and marching my entire
And
life.
yes, indeed, you have, my
Uh,
friend. You have.
yeah, and I mean, I have been good friends with people like Larry Kramer and so many others that did dedicated their entire life to fighting for equality. And
What would Larry Kramer have done now in 2024 with regard to what's happening in this country? I
you
wonder.
know,
Just a
I
question
was
to
with
throw out to you, my friend.
yeah, I mean, I was with Larry the week he passed
Oh.
in his apartment, and he said to me, I'm so sad because all I did, I changed nothing.
Oh, that's not true.
And I told him that was not true. And
Oh, that's not true.
He said, Ray, when I told the community to stop having sex and to start behaving because their lives are at stake, it didn't stop them. And
Right.
then we come into COVID and it's the same thing. Stop doing what you're doing, go be careful. And yet our community is out there having circuit parties and infecting and people are dying. He said they learned nothing. And I said, well, Larry, because of you, hundreds and thousands of people are still alive.
Oh, absolutely. All you have to do is mention the name Larry Kramer, and you know exactly what kind of influence
Yeah.
over
I
all of
mean,
us. And
yeah,
even people maybe younger than you and I are, but certainly I lived in New York City in the 80s and 90s and beyond, and what a powerful influence he was.
yeah. And he scared me. I remember being a very young man and coming into the city and going to an ACT UP meeting and him screaming, and it scared the living daylights out of me. And in the mid 80s, after working for Disney, I moved to Europe. I moved to Denmark
Mhm.
because one, because I had a really great job offer, but two, I thought, well, there's no AIDS in Denmark.
Right,
So
right.
I'll be safe. So I'm going because my friends were dying. And of course, that was ridiculous. By 2 years later, when I decided to leave Denmark, AIDS was in Europe, AIDS was everywhere.
Of
It
course, yeah.
spread like wildfire. But it's those traumas in life. And now the trauma, just this morning, I found out a friend of mine that I grew up with died of a heart attack suddenly,
Oh,
my
sweetheart,
age.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but part of aging is
I'm so
loss.
sorry. Yes, of
So
course it is.
how do we all heal? How do we move forward? How do we
Part of
take the hurt from, especially when it comes from a society that we live in? How do
right.
we take that and keep it in a place and still be a healthy human being, still look at life as a wonderful place? For
Well,
me, life is wonderful. For me, I really, I really celebrate life.
you
And I
do.
do that.
And
As you know,
and that's one of the many things I admire about you as a dear friend and colleague and SAG-AFTRA LGBTQ committee member. But what I what I'd like to talk about with you is how do we now come together? How do we bring, look, you and I come from a certain perspective, right? Something happened to you. I remember it was Pride this past year. No, it was in 2023, right?
yeah.
You have Doris Dear, who is a beloved among all New York City Pride, which is, it ain't no small potatoes. Um, for you that don't know, Ray has this wonderful alter ego, Doris Dear, which I will post all information regarding that for you. Beloved along the lines of the parade. And you can hear the cheers from well before we arrive because Ray is coming down dressed brilliantly as Doris Dear, as he wanted to be glam like his mom. And boy, is he glam. And You are so beloved. And after last year's, we all went to dinner, and you told me a story that you had gone into an enclave, you know, because you and I usually march together, and you had gone into an enclave, and somebody who was at the Pride Parade, interestingly, threw a cup of water into your face, into your beautifully made up face and your beautiful hair. And you told me that afterward. And I remember thinking to myself, gosh, that's interesting, because he came right back and we were marching, and he had interviews and all kinds of stuff. And that didn't seem, it just was like water off of a duck's back, because I would imagine you get that. How do you handle that? And how does that work with regard to you? I would imagine that you, more than most people I know, understand how to heal the divide, because you've had to heal that divide so many times in your life.
Well, I've had things like that happen to me my whole life. I've been beaten up and ribs broken and all sorts of stuff throughout life. I have come to realize throughout life that, my mom always used to say to me that we change the world one person at a time.
I love that.
And I really do think that's true. I think that people who throw water or shout epithets at us, or hold those signs about Jesus and everything else, and use and weaponize religion. I mean, I've come to realize through life that those people are scared. They're
Yes.
scared of things they don't understand or don't know. They use the Bible as a weapon because they know that a lot of people support that weapon.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just, like anyone who knows me, if you see me on the street, I'm generally wearing a pair of heels. If it's warm out, I'm wearing hosiery and shorts, or a skirt with a jacket
Oh,
and a
and by the
vest on
by,
top.
wait, how tall are you? You're 6'4", I think.
Or
Yeah, he's 6'4". So he's this gorgeous man and 6'4", and
in 5-inch heels.
and walking to the restaurant with the four of us that time, and he's like, everybody's like, "What?" And I'm like,
And we got a table.
But
Yeah, I mean,
I think
people.
that's a way, though, to heal the divide. I mean, here's my mission: is vision, not division, right? Our mission,
Right.
Leslie Nielsen and I, our mission is vision, not division. I need you to help me help you, or you need me to help, whatever Jerry Maguire statement it is, because I'm having difficulty with this. And I think that you, just even by, for example, as my dear friend walking into the restaurant, now granted it was after Pride, but walking into a restaurant, all 6'4" of you, all 6'7" of you in heels, gorgeous, handsome man. I think that helps to heal the divide for many people who just look and say, here's this fabulous creature, and I'm still okay. I can still believe. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Am I?
Yeah, I mean, I have found that, so I've always been who I am. I've never been able to be something I'm not. It's probably why I chose acting, because acting allows me to be someone I'm not, even though every time we're a character in a play or a movie or a TV show, you're a better actor when you're more authentically yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I always say that for me, when I do Doris Dear, it's the most authentic on stage I've ever been in my life. And people sort of look at me like, but you're a woman. And I'm like, yes, but it clues into so much of me, because I'm a storyteller. And yes, I'm a singer and an actor, but I'm really a storyteller and always have been. And when I put on that outfit, which was suggested by my husband to do my show as Doris, an authenticity about who I am as an actor and as a person came through that I had never really allowed to come through, because it was all, agents and casting people. We need a guy, we need a strong guy. And then right before COVID, my sister suddenly passed of a brain aneurysm. We had seen her 24 hours before in Florida. We got a call, she got a headache, and she was gone. And it was a real realization for me that the only thing we truly have is right now. Right now on this podcast, because I could get a headache and die when I go back in the living room.
Right.
The rest is an unknown. So what I do know I have is right now. And I thought to myself, if all I have is right now, how do I want my right now to be?
Oh, I love that, Ray.
And I decided that I had to truly be and live my true self. And I had always had problems with gender. I never wanted to be a quote unquote woman. I never wanted to transition, but I certainly understood that there were days that I felt way more feminine, and there were days I felt more masculine, that I would go back between these two genders that exist. And it was confusing to me, and I didn't know, but it was confusing to me in 1970s. But in 2023 and 2024, I realized that gender is a social construct. Clothing is just clothing. I like wearing heels. I like wearing hosiery. There's nothing sexual
By the way,
about
he
it.
has the best legs in the business.
Thank you, Mom.
I thought I did.
Okay. And I just made the decision that I had to be honest about who I was. Luckily, I live in a city that is a bit of a bubble when it comes to LGBTQ rights. We're safer here than probably anywhere else, but there are still problems.
Right.
But I decided, and I had this conversation with my partner, Jim, and his response was, okay, so what? Like,
Jim, I love
I
him
know
for
you.
that.
I knew, yeah. He said, I know who you are. Just, you always liked, right? Like, what's the big deal?
Interesting that you said that about acting, because I, as an actress, since I was 5, I didn't go into that to become another person. I went into that to explore my inner, organics to find whatever I was working on.
Right.
That being said, as both of us are performers and LGBTQ activists, you better known than I am. How can Ray and Traci continue, because we both do it in our own ways, continue to manage to mend the fences that we so need to do in this country right now, in order for us to move forward, in order for us, frankly, Ray, to save a democracy, because I think that's where we are right now. Call me an alarmist, or call me Traci, call me whatever, but that's what I'm thinking. And wait, enough about me, and you and I have a relationship enough where you can say, Traci, you're wrong. And I'd love to hear that, but let me know what your thoughts are on that.
So I really think that, marginalized people, whether it's LGBTQ, people of color, people of Latino descent, whatever, and now, of course, we have a lot of migrants into this country who are trying to make this country their home. I think that, again, you do change the world one person at a time. I'm not the kind of person who really wants to stand in a group with a sign and scream anymore. We just did that on the SAG-AFTRA strike. And that was
we did that for months on the SAG-AFTRA.
119 days or something.
Right.
I mean, my approach has always been one-on-one. I do my shows. After my shows, I stand in the lobby. I greet every single person who bought a ticket. And in the beginning, I would have wives come up, because most of my audience is, I would say 80% of my audience is straight couples. And the wives would come up and they would say, my husband would like to give you a hug. And I'd say, oh, okay.
Oh my God, I love this.
And the guys would like come in, and I'm 7'1", 7'2" in the hair and everything,
With the
and
hair and the heels, yeah.
and gigantic boobies from China, and
Well, wherever you got them, honey, they're working for you.
they're working for me. And they would come in and hug me, and I'd put my arms around them, and I could feel them spend 15 seconds exhaling with
Right.
their head on my breast
Wow.
and leaning into me. And then they would thank you, you're great, and go away. And I wasn't really sure what it was at first. It kind of like, I was like, well, is this a sexual thing? Are they sexualizing her? You know, but what I came to realize is Doris is so non-sexual. She represents a safe space. And it's that space of, for man especially, being on the couch as a kid and putting their head in mom's lap.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, everything's going to be okay. And I remember those moments, and I miss those moments. And that's what she represents. And by doing that small, being open and doing that small bit of action, I changed someone's life.
Absolutely. One person at a time as your mother. What was her name? I forget.
Taffy.
Taffy. As Taffy, and she was gorgeous, by the way, audience. I've seen those.
Yes.
As Taffy would say, one person at a time. Well, you've changed one person at a time more.
And
than,
I realized the power
yeah,
we have as individuals. So if you've seen my Ray DeFOREST Instagram or my Doris Instagram,
all will be posted, by the way, on the YouTube video.
It's all about being authentic. I get hundreds of messages a week on people who are looking to find their own sense of freedom so they can truly be who they are.
So Ray, you are so incredibly devoted to, whether you know it or not, healing the divide. Well, I know that you know that to a certain degree, but you're exactly the right person at the right time right now.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a producer. I've produced television and film and Broadway shows and everything. So I produce and write my own work.
I got a play for you.
And, as a producer, I look at the big picture when I'm doing a show or somebody asks me to do a guest appearance. What is the value? Is it reach enough people? Is it where, all that kind of stuff. But when I look at healing the divide, I don't ever think about it in a way, because if I think about the world and the state of the world right now, I tend to shut down a little bit because I feel overwhelmed by the amount of hate, the amount of problems and conservatism that is weaponizing religion and our rights, and it overwhelms me.
I understand that.
It tends to shut me down. So
don't let it. We need your voice. Don't let it. We need your voice, please.
Yeah. So my answer is to just be authentically me every moment of my public and private life. And because I understand that by doing that one Ray, one Doris at a time,
one Taffy, one person at a time.
And that's how I change the world. That's how I help the world. And that's how I've had my voice heard. And there's plenty of people, there's so many great people doing the work and doing it on a larger scale. But I find I'm most effective on a smaller scale, that my voice, my actions, my life can be heard somewhat better on a slightly smaller scale. But then there's things like SAG-AFTRA, where I'm now on the board. Wow. And we do the LGBT committee.
We're both on the board together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I'm very happy to have you on this smaller scale, which I hope becomes a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And I also would love to continue these conversations with you, because I think that I'm so fortunate to have you as a friend who I can pick up the phone and say, hey, would you do this? Not many people can do that with Doris Dear, but I can.
Yes,
and
anytime.
You know, usually my co-host, Leslie Nielsen, who is with me, she owns a catering company and she's a great chef. And I believe that food brings people together to a certain degree. I have a question for you because she's not here. Usually she wraps it with a really quick kind of recipe. Do you have any fun, quick recipes that you'd like to share with us, Mr.
Oh, well,
Forrest?
you know, I was on the Food Network.
Oh, that's
Mm.
right. It'll be listed in the links below. Okay. So do you have any like quickie kind of fun? She did a French onion soup, then she did a, I don't know, just for kicks, because we like to end with that.
Um, I have a very quick recipe. If you just buy a can of sweetened condensed milk,
Okay.
those little cans of sweetened condensed
Sweet.
milk,
The
you
cans.
put,
Okay.
yeah, in the can. And you take that and you mix that with lemon juice. And
Okay.
you can add up to about a cup of lemon juice to a can of it, and you stir it up. It instantly turns into this wonderful, creamy, because the acid
I would think that the lemon
reacts,
juice and the condensed milk. Okay, continue.
the acid in the lemon juice reacts with the protein and bonds and everything in the sweetened condensed milk, and it forms like a pudding. You then put it in little jars. You can sprinkle a little like vanilla wafers, crushed vanilla
Really?
wafers on top, and you refrigerate it, and it's this like sort of
So it's sort of like
mixed, a custardy
a
pudding,
custardy thing.
and it's lemon, it's fresh. It
We'll
is
call that the
so
Doris
easy.
Dear custard here. I don't know. I love
It's the
that.
Doris Dear lip smacker.
I love the Doris Dear lip smacker. All right, that
It's
sounds like a good
so
plan. My
delicious.
goodness, who would have thunk it?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
delicious. It's the easiest little thing to have, like if people come over. I put it
right.
in little teeny jars with that I save from the
Like little
supermarket.
ramekins or something?
Yeah, that
Okay.
have like lids, and then I put it and I make individual ones so everyone
Oh,
gets a,
nice.
and you can sprinkle like shaved chocolate over it,
Oh my
and
God. So when you and
delicious.
Jim have us over for dinner, I think we're going to have some of that.
Oh yes, it's delicious. So good.
I am so proud of you. I
Mm.
love, respect, admire you. You know that. And I can't wait to talk to you more about this.
Thanks. Well,
Because I think,
my last thing I want to say is that my
Mhm.
mother used to say this all the time. I don't know where she got it from, but she said it to me all the time, and I say it
Kathy,
in my shows. Taffy said,
what did she say?
a dress doesn't get you anywhere. It's the life you live in the dress that matters.
We should have taffy dolls made. I think that is, well, Doris Dear dolls, as I said to you at Pride. But I love that. And I love that you had her. And I love that I have you. So I'll talk to you later, my friend.
All
Uh,
right. Thanks for having me.
thanks
Mwah!
for being here.